Hi, welcome back. This is about Sportster riding lights. So I thought as I was doing the gaskets on the cylinder head and had all this wiring off, it was a good opportunity to pick up on the riding light wiring. So this plug here is for the indicators, and it's 6-pin, but the two innermost are missing because this is the UK version, not the US version. On the US version, it's got two blue wires coming out of here, one to the right indicator, one to the left indicator. So each indicator has got 3 wires running up to it, and that plugs into a socket on the right hand side, which I think you can see has got 2 blue wires. So the main loom has got the US wiring. It's only from the indicators down to the main loom that hasn't. This is the main wiring loom, and I've got lights, blue, going up to that socket that I just showed you, the 2 blues there. I'll zoom in on that. So there's your light 15 amp fused feed that comes from the ignition switch along there, up here, along there. So they're the 2 blues. So these are on the socket, but they're not in the plug. But on this diagram you can see it says running lamps, domestic only. So that's the blue, and the blue that isn't there on the plug that runs up to the indicators. So after trying to modify the ones on the bike, I decided the thing to do was to buy a pair of indicators from America. And as you can see, it's got the 2 middle wires, although one's black, one's blue, but they'll be going up to the bulbs. There's a recess there, and if you very carefully, because they break very easily, the tabs, prise that off, you'll see it's got 2 contacts in there. And then you can get a kit from China like this that plugs in, turns round, and then they provide a smoked cover as well. The outside is the riding light, which is white, and the inside is orange. Now I don't know how this is going to work. If they need resistors, then I've got some resistors to put in, and also because I'm going to wire, if I do have to do that and I have to wire it into the loom, I'm going to wire up a plug and a socket for it. So I'm going to put, I'll show you how I'm going to do that if I do it. So then that will just plug in there. So that will plug in between the loom, and then the resistors will be in line. But if I do that, I'll show you how I'm doing it. I have heard that if you leave the flashes on hazard for about a minute, the flasher unit resets itself to a new load and you don't get hyper flashing. I don't see that myself, but I mean, I could be wrong, so I'll try that first. So I'll wire it into the bike before I put the loom together and try it out. So the first thing is to wire these in, and I'll try them with the bulbs to start with before I go any further with the LEDs. So the first thing I want to do is take off the old indicators. Okay. Good egg. Okay, so somehow there's the wires, so that's that, that and that. Right, so they just feed up. I think I'm going to have to take the headlight bracket off as well. Bit of a pain. That's all good. So that we're going through those two. Okay. So there's the new ones. So I know that I've tested these. So this is my left one and this is my right one. So I'm putting those either side of that, which is how they were. So this is the left. Put the old wires back. Put that there for now. So that goes through there. That and that. There's my indicators. So I want that. Really, I want that the other side of that. Right, so they are going down through there. That comes up. So that can just tuck in there for now. I'm only putting these indicators in loosely for now while I figure out the wiring route. So that is okay going down through there. Yeah, that's okay. That's my power lead up to my sat nav. That's down there, that's down there. That's through there. Right, that I think is on with the washers in place. Yep, washers in place, nothing pinching. Good. So now all I've got to do is figure out how to get the screen on. So if everything, I'm going to say everything behaves itself and stays in place, I should be alright. That's plenty tight enough. Okay, so that's all my wires. Okay, I'm happy with all that lot. Happy with that lot. Now before I put the instruments on, I just want to cable tie these up. Good. And then that's enough there. So I reckon that's the hard stuff done, fiddly stuff. Happy with that. Right, I think it's just a question of tidying up these wires now. I just want to cable tie that end up a little bit more there. And then I think that's done at the handlebar side of things. That looks alright to me, that all feels okay. All moves. That's going in the right place, that's going under there. Okay, so take that off. That, and that. That's my sat nav. There's a big junky monkey one going around there, so they're alright, and they're alright. Okay. So cable tie around there. There's the new one, there's the wire with the two blues in it, or the blue and the black. So that will fit in the loom, and then try it out. Okay, so I think I'll leave any more cable tying until I've got it in the loom and tidying that up. And then this in there. Right, that's my indicators in. This has got a slot for it here. Like that, I guess. Good. That's the indicator. Pop the fuse in. And turn the ignition on. Right, ignition on. So they would be the riding lights. And that would be the indicator. Not that side, so probably the bulb's gone. So that's how it would look without the LED ones in. So now I'm going to put the LED ones in and see if I need load resistors. So ignition off. Right, one thing, these are I've just bent these two bits in because they're absolute crappy connection. You can't get hold of it to stick it in. Clockwise with the short one at the top. Okay, let's give number one a whirl. Ignition on. Okay, so that's hyper flashing and no riding light. Clearly this is not going to be straightforward. Okay, see if the riding light works now. Well, hey. Okay, so that's riding light. So let's see what that's like. Riding light. Pretty good. And indicator, which is hyper flashing at the moment. So let's try this side. Okay, short one in first. There are far more expensive ones. These were like £11, these inserts. So you can get you know, they're up to £60. Right, let's see what that's like. Riding light doesn't work. Riding light does work. Okay. Indicator. Hyper flashing. So now I'm going to try this hazard thing for a minute. I can't think that that's going to reset the thing. I would have thought if it's going to reset the flash unit, it'd reset immediately. Wouldn't need a minute to see what the load was like, surely. And that seems to be flashing at the right rate to me. So let's turn those off and then back on. And then hyper flashing. So let's put these back on again and leave it a minute. So that's probably been a minute or thereabouts. So turn the hazards off. Now try one indicator. And that's hyper flashing. Try the other indicator. That doesn't seem to be hyper flashing. And that seems to be okay to me now. Turn these both on. That, I think, looks okay to me. Turn them off. Right hand side. Left hand side. That flashing looks okay to me. I'm going to try it for another minute like that. So maybe it does reset itself, like that chap said. Interesting. And I think that's flashing okay. I'm going to leave it like this for a minute. So that's been another minute, or thereabouts. So turn the hazards off and then try right hand side one. And left hand side. And right hand side. Possibly a little bit quick, I don't know. I'll check that against the car, I think. So that's the riding lights, which is what I wanted in the indicators. So I'll finish putting it back together again. Right, the flash rate for British MOT is supposed to be 60 to 120 times a minute, and the indicators on either side have to be the same rate. So let's try and see what this is. Right, I've made that 91 flashes in a minute, so that's okay. And then if the other side's the same, which I think it is. Good. So the only thing I thought was, if this isn't the white light, the riding light around the indicator, if that isn't acceptable to the MOT, all I do was cover up one of the connections or something like that. I'll figure something out. I'll take it down to the MOT place and say, is this acceptable before the MOT? I like that. I've always wanted riding lights. I wanted Kuriakin, but they were too expensive, and there was nowhere that I could see that, because of my mud guard things on the forks, I couldn't fit them. I couldn't afford them, so I couldn't fit them anyway. But anyway, so I'm happy with that. I'll put it back together again, the bike, and then I'll take it outside and see what it's like outside, and that will make a difference. So that's what the running lights look like. Okay, so I've just been to see the MOT man, and the riding lights are okay for the MOT. So I reckon that is a success all the way round. I've wanted riding lights for ages, and I only really wanted something to catch people's eyes. I didn't want anything, you know, to light the road up or anything like that. So that is absolutely what I was after. Wide into the loom, going on and off with the ignition, and road legal. Hey, that's a score. Right then, so I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it helped you. I'd be very grateful if you could subscribe, please, because that helps me out. And I'll get you on the next video. So catch you later. Cheerio.